Hey, welcome to What the Hell Happened This Week. I'm Danielle Nava,
And I'm Dustin Granger. Welcome.
and welcome. We have some breaking news also for y'all. Um, we haven't jumped on here in 2 weeks since the election week, so we've got a lot to cover. Um, shall we start with the recent execution threats that the President of the United States just made?
Yeah, he just called for some Democratic lawmakers to be executed for telling the military to not obey illegal orders, which they're supposed to do. Um, I kind of saw this coming because I saw earlier this week or this past weekend that some officers were seeking because they were worried about it. I don't know if it was officers that were around, because we're moving military to South America. But yeah, some officers were requesting ethical opinions on obeying orders, and I would because Donald Trump intends to send unethical orders. He's been doing it already. So
Uh,
big deal.
One of my closest, like, best friends, recently married someone in the military. And earlier this year, before they got married, I said to him, I said, "What happens if he tries to, martial law, militarize the streets?" And his answer to me was, "We answer to the Constitution, first and foremost." That was the answer that I got. And he didn't seem interested in entertaining any additional um, scenarios, like contingency planning. Like, you know, with Trump, a lot could happen. Like what's happening here. Um, but he just left it at that, and so I didn't really feel that confident with that answer. And here we are. What actually? It's easy to say that, it be, but what actually happens if it's not ethical and you're asked to do something that is not according to the Constitution? And we're about to find that out.
Yeah, and I mean, how do we even put that on military personnel to like understand the Constitution in and out, be a judge on the Constitution when they're getting orders from superiors?
Mhm.
Um, I would hope it's up to the superiors and the generals to
Right.
to be the one to make that call. And the sad thing is Donald Trump will probably just fire them and replace them with somebody that will, you know. So yeah, we're entering in a dark place. But the good thing is I feel like um, the power of Donald Trump is waning.
Mhm.
It's becoming severely unpopular. The Epstein
Mhm.
files, even more unpopular. People don't trust him. People, is taking bribes, the corruption on the highest degree. Mm. So I think if he, I think he wants to make illegal orders to them. He really does. I think he would start a war just to distract from the Epstein files. Um,
Mhm.
and I'm just not so sure that our military and our generals will fall for something like that where we are right now. Um, if he had extreme popularity and um, I don't know, but I feel better about it that at least, and I'm thankful that our
I
military
don't know if
personnel
it's
and
just me,
generals.
but I can't hear you. My Hold on one second. We'll be right back. Sound tech issues.
Can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
Okay. Didn't know what that was.
Okay, so what were you
But
saying?
yeah, I was just saying that I feel better now, seeing the news articles that generals are seeking information um, about being in these ethical dilemmas with orders from above. So that's a good thing. At least they're looking for that information. And I just think at this moment in time, with Trump's supreme unpopularity, that I don't think he's going to be able to make these orders and have the military just follow everything.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I think everyone's kind of feeling the tide turning. Um, I mean, I think we're all attaching on to anything that feels like hope, but, and I know everyone's bracing for the release of the files. I know the, DHS Payne Bondi has 30 days to release, and now there's a question of, are they gonna use the loophole to not release certain files that are under investigation, which we know is why they keep bringing up that, why didn't the Democrats release it? Well, probably everyone on this call knows that they didn't release it because the Maxwell case was under investigation. So those were sealed. But there are talks that they may use that loophole to not. And then the other fear is Trump's name being redacted.
Yeah. On the first point, I think Merrick Garland, that's the thing is at the time Biden, trying to bring down the temperature, I think Merrick Garland made some mistakes. I think he should, he's worried so much about over politicization. Um, the DOJ, he was kind of correct. The DOJ is not supposed to be politicized, not supposed to be part of the executive branch. Um, but we've seen some mistakes in the past of Merrick Garland, just being overly, you know, not doing anything that's in our national interest, which would have been releasing information about this, about the Russia
Mhm,
investigation, a lot
mhm.
of things he could have done. And yes, I think a lot of Democrats should be upset that,
For the
um,
sake of trying not to look like he was targeting Trump,
exactly. Yeah, or swinging an
which is
election. I
like
mean,
mhm,
we've seen that before. The Democratic administration in 2020, the Biden
mhm.
administration just being overly careful with doing anything that seems politicized. But that's the environment we're in. You have the other side, the Republicans and Biden, I mean, Republicans and Trump that politicize every single thing they can. Um,
And we kind of try to lower the temperature. It's like and I think that's part of why everyone's upset with it. That adds uh, fuel to the fire on why people are upset with the Democratic Party. It's like, do something. It's like they're fighting back. We have to just stay on defense, stay on our heels. Let's not rock the boat too much. But they're over there rocking the boat every day.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, and the fact that that Trump just said like, "Oh, we're going to investigate all the Democrats in it." Like he can just say that brazenly. And I mean, I don't watch NBC News and ABC News and CBS News very often, but it just seems like all of this may not be being covered at all. Um, of him just being overtly political with something like the Epstein files. And yeah, he's probably going to use that as an excuse like, oh, we're investigating the Democrats. Sorry, we can't show you anything from Donald Trump or the Republicans. It's just they could probably say that right now and get away with it. Just like what we were talking about earlier about Trump saying that he wants to kill and execute some Democratic Congress people. I saw the Wall Street Journal. Um, um, had a post earlier like Donald Trump threatens legal action against Democratic Congress. Like they won't say it. They
no.
purposefully they censor him on purpose to try to
Mm,
be non-political. Mainstream
mhm,
media does that. The DOJ did that under Biden. Like we're always bending over backwards to not be explicit in how
mhm,
terrible he's being.
mhm. Yeah, we're using kid gloves with him, and he
Yeah.
continues to be a kid. Yep. Um, and one example of that is, oh my god, am so pissed off about this quiet piggy thing. Like the way that it gets under my skin makes my blood boil. I think for every woman. I mean, men are capable of having that intense hatred for that, but the way that it just rolled off his tongue, the way it just with ease, he said it immediately. I mean, he says everything about what he thinks about women, his misogyny. He has an inferior. I mean, he knows deep down that most women have more intellect, uh, skills, talent, common sense, tact than he has in the tip of his finger. And it's just like all of his hatred and misogyny just came out. And it's like, how is that like in any other day, in any other presidency, that one phrase would like, that would be it for him. Like that would be like the whole country would hate you for that. At
Right.
least half the country, or at least the women, like, oh God, just like
I agree with you.
I can't believe he said that, and then nobody said anything. Like, what were the other people? Again, it's like kid gloves. Like, how can you just respond with silence to that? I mean, sure, they were shocked, but like there was nothing. Oh, I'm so pissed about
Yeah,
that.
he's getting worse and worse at it. Yeah. So I agree with you. It was like so infuriating to watch that. And then somebody put up a montage of like all of his comments.
Yeah.
I mean, there was, I mean, like 30 comments or something of him disparaging women in the press conferences, and just that nobody cares about it, or it just seems like it doesn't get reported. Again, you're committing so many crimes, you're committing so many
Hmm.
this it's not a crime to do that, but I mean, just social
Just
faux
the
pas to the
disrespect.
highest
Yes.
degree,
Yeah. Yeah.
disrespectfulness. Like, there's so much of it you don't even get to report it. I'm just like, are people watching this? I mean, I'm guessing people that watch Fox News don't know anything about this, or they like it. I don't know,
They
but
like it. I guess they like it. I don't. It's
and he
disgusting.
he was doing this too today in or yesterday in the press conference with Prince. Um,
Yes.
Ben Solomon, he always has to just be a complete asshole. When they asked him about uh, Jamal Khashoggi's murder, which Prince MBS like gave the instructions for that murder. Um, that's what
Yeah.
our like CIA or whoever reported back, and he just threw it in their face. It was a woman, of course, that answered the question. Yeah, you don't really see any men asking the tough questions, do you?
No. Thank you for that. The women
It's always
have
the women
that. What
pressing it.
was? Yeah. Uh, the woman who asked to his face in that press conference, literally asking a prince who she knows had another journalist murdered. The cojones, the cojones, like much respect to these
Yeah,
women. Just, I'm ready for the men to step up a little, like step up and at least like defend the women. I don't know. There's just like the lack of any action or like in real time response to him is maddening. I don't know. Is We'll see. Now that there's been social backlash and people are talking about it, maybe we'll start seeing it. But I don't know. It's just he's
yeah. I
getting
mean,
worse and worse
he
by the
just
day.
doesn't give a damn about
Yeah,
anything.
he's imploding. And then like, back to the Epstein files. He was so obviously trying to prevent the files from coming out. And then him finally, once he saw the tides had turned and he was going to lose that battle, getting voted against to release it, he was like, oh, yeah, go. But in the background, he's already got that next step plan to either delay or hide. Although, with that being said, I'm glad it's at least moving in one step. It's like we need to stop being on our heels and we need to keep him on his heels until he has no more moves to make.
Yeah, it was a big deal. They got the bill passed. Clay Higgins, our congressman. I always say he's the worst congressman in the United States. I think we saw why. The lone vote. I don't know if he just didn't get the memo. But he doesn't care either. He just kind of he seems to just want to protect Trump no matter what. Even
Yeah, he's very it's pick me politics, and
yeah,
Trump will never pick him.
yeah. And I don't know what we can do about him. I mean, uh, this he's in the district that's probably the reddest district in Louisiana. It's probably the hardest district. It's ours, of course. Um, I don't see much uproar locally, as far as um, as far as you see it online. There's a lot of local residents that are pissed at Clay Higgins, but you don't really see many leaders standing up in the community denouncing him at all.
No,
Um,
of course
um,
not.
and a lot of people texted today, who's running against him. I think Tia LeBrun, maybe she hasn't announced quite yet, although so I'm not really sure. But yeah, that's a problem, and it just reminds me about a lot of the problems we have here in Louisiana. I think national or Democrats around the nation need to look at southern states like Louisiana and participate more and help us over here, um,
Mhm.
because you know Clay Higgins doesn't raise very much money, but it's even harder for a Democrat to raise money over here. Um, I think $1 million or $2 million could easily defeat Clay Higgins. Um, but again, we don't have a good fundraising base over here at all, and it's frustrating watching other states throw around tens of millions of dollars like it's nothing on these swing state elections. Swing state. Whenever I feel like just a small amount of investment over here in Louisiana and Mississippi can go so far. I
Mhm.
mean, we have two senators. Um, and Mississippi has two senators. Alabama has two senators. Mississippi, the Democratic governor candidate, almost won a couple years ago. Um, he got like 47%. I think he only
Yeah,
raised
with
a couple $1 million, but statewide you need a little bit more. But they
yeah,
throw away 5, 10, 20, $50 million in elections in
that are
Ohio or wherever,
yeah, that are more
like it's
compet
nothing.
like more high stakes, but it's like, yeah, it's like let's get strategic on this. Let's throw some money where they're not expecting it.
Hmm.
I feel like that would be a really good strategy in the smaller populated states. I mean,
Well, to me, it's
if the game is going to be rigged and every state is going to have 2 senators, then we got to play that game for the time being.
yeah. I mean, it's become very frustrating because, um, yeah. I mean, this is MAGA central in Louisiana. For the time being, but we have so many things going for us that could show that this could easily be a purple or a blue state. I mean, we have
Mhm,
New Orleans, which is one of the most liberal cities. We turn out New
mhm.
Orleans. I mean, that can swing elections. We have the second highest. Mississippi has the highest black population.
Yeah, the
Um,
second highest.
if we invested in turnout and engaging our base in black voters, and at the same time just peeling off a small amount of white voters in the state, we could
Mhm.
easily be blue. And that means no Mike Johnson, no Clay Higgins, no John Kennedy. Some of the worst people in Congress. I think just a little bit of money can go a long way.
The Independent Party is the fastest growing party in Louisiana right now. Probably in a lot of states
Well, there
across
is no
the country.
independent party anymore. It's only no party now since we just have
Oh, you're right.
closed primaries, so everybody that was independent now is no part. But most people, when they sign up for independent, they think it's no party anyway. Uh,
Right.
People don't really know that there's like an independent party. I mean, I didn't really know or understand that until recently. But yeah, no, we're a gray state, and um, I saw something on this recently that places like Louisiana are really a gray state where um, the non-voters, the gray area, is higher than the Democratic vote count and the Republican vote count combined. And we're a very poor state, very rural state. So money really can go a long way if we just engage more people. And
Mhm.
I really think the path away from MAGA nationwide goes through the Deep South. I mean, this is where the stronghold is, and this is where such a small amount of money can go a long way. We have the highest black populations. Um, there's so many things going for us, especially in Louisiana. Louisiana is really set because we have New Orleans. I went to New Orleans this past week, or just day before yesterday, at an event, a new pack that a friend of mine started, the STFU pack. You can say you can call it "Shut the fuck up," or because a lot of our elected officials need to. We know a few of them. Or you can call it the Stop the Fascist Uprising, which is what they call it. And you can check them out, STFU Pack. But I went to this event, gave a speech over there, met a lot of new people that I've never met before in New Orleans. And probably what I remember the most is a couple conversations I had with different people. And these were people that said, we were talking about politics. They said, I've never been engaged in politics before. They said, and this is two different people. They said, I used to just not engage, thinking that all parties are the same, and kind of just wish the whole thing would just blow up.
Like
And
anarchists.
yeah, and now I realize I can no longer sit on the sideline. That I got to get engaged more. That was really cool to hear. So I think,
Yeah, because if that's happening in Louisiana, that's happening all over the country.
yeah,
Well, we saw that. I think that had to have been what happened too in all the elections a couple weeks ago. It's not just that Democrats are showing up to the polls, it's that these previous, these independent anarchists, like all parties are bad, have been avoiding it and they can't avoid it anymore because it's in their face every day, like a
yep,
water hose. And
yeah,
I did see after, everything happened so fast. Like, I feel like the vote was 5 days ago and it was just yesterday or the day before. But I started to see, and maybe it was something that you posted, like somebody tweeted or posted a thread, like who knows where they're located, not in Louisiana. And they were like, whoever's running against Clay Higgins in his next election, I'm ready to max out the donations for.
right, yeah,
So there could be this really cool, like grassroots, organic. We saw that with the what was the it was the Atlanta race, who beat out like the Republican incumbent. It went to a runoff. Um, but just like the organic dollars and donations behind a great candidate, Tio would be great. Um, Somebody has to step forward. And she has a little experience. She ran against Clay a few years ago. Um, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
yeah.
But I think people are ready to support whoever's going to run against this buffoon.
Yeah, it's a little more I feel like we would have many more people. I got so many texts yesterday about Clay Higgins, but the thing is, he does something crazy like this every year, and there's always a bunch of people, like big accounts, Twitter, online, and stuff saying who's going to run against him, I'll max you out, and then they forget.
Mm,
And I had some people even locally say somebody needs to run against Clay. Why isn't there a plan? And it's just complicated over here. Again, we're the reddest district. Um, I don't know. There's a lot of left leaning liberal people in Lake Charles and Lafayette, but when you every single election, Clay Higgins has gotten more and more votes, and that's the frustrating thing, and that's why nobody will stand up,
mhm,
um, because it's hard to run for Congress because of money in politics. I mean, you need at least $1 million to perform well. Um, it's hard to fundraise because it is a red area. A lot of people are afraid to be, if they're in business or whatever, they're afraid to out themselves as a Democrat because this is a high oil and gas area.
mhm,
Um, and they see that he keeps gaining. Now, he keeps gaining votes because we're not really putting together campaigns against him. We're the candidates that have run against him, you know, only raised between, five and $50,000 max, and again, you need 1 million. And so I just hope that it's a highlight for people outside of Louisiana to say, hey, and in the Democratic Party as well, which the Democratic Party, the National Democrats, are giving more to Louisiana, but we're losing more as well because, um, you know, the Democrat elected officials outside of New Orleans and Louisiana, there's just not many elected officials that are, and we're a super minority over here, have no statewide positions. So we're struggling over here, and we're a population that doesn't have much money, So I wish these billionaires that are raising all these money for one candidate or whatever, raising hundreds of millions of dollars for so and so Senate candidate in Ohio or whatever, would look over here at our southern states. And I think we can get rid of all these people. I really do.
When is Clay's election? When's he up? Who comes first? Who's in next year's
Well, all,
uh
all of Congress is up for election next year
next year? Okay.
in 2026. Yeah, Congress is every 2 years. That's the House of Representatives every 2 years. So we had 2024 during the presidential election, and now the midterms are in 2026.
Hmm.
We have um, January, I think it was moved to February now because the Republicans in our state are trying to steal a congressional seat. So they delayed it, hoping that the Voting Rights Act gets struck down. So qualifying for the next year's election is going to be in February, I believe. And then we now have closed primaries, meaning we'll have Democrat against Democrat running um, in the primary in May of 2026. So I kind of like it. I want closed primaries in Louisiana, so that way we can have one Democrat against one Republican instead
Hmm.
of the jungle primary where you have seven people
Yeah,
running.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
it makes it harder for Democrats to run in Louisiana when there's five people running. Waters
Hmm.
down even more our
Hmm.
ability to come together. So yeah,
Yeah.
the closed primary is going to be in May of 2026, and then of course the elections in November.
Why do you think the Republican state legislator voted for that changed? A closed primary. What's
Oh,
their
because of Bill
what's their
Cassidy.
motive?
Because of Bill Cassidy. So now that Republicans control everything in Louisiana, you have the extremists in control. Since they've rigged all the districts and everything, which allows more extremists to be in control in Louisiana. Again, another reason to invest in Louisiana because we think that everybody's extremists over here, but these are people that couldn't get elected 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
Hmm. That's right.
Um, it's just the districts are even more rigged where you have just the most extreme people running. Um, so what they did is they saw somebody like Bill Cassidy who voted to impeach Donald Trump. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Voted to impeach Donald Trump, and uh, they decided they want to get rid of the open primaries and do closed primaries, so that way they can primary somebody like Bill Cassidy if they step out of line from Trump. Um,
Wouldn't
and
that be
that's
fun
exactly
if
what's
if
happening.
that's what brought them down?
And that's actually what's happening right now. So now you have
Hmm.
about, I don't know, six or seven far right Republicans running against Bill Cassidy. And they're all trying to be like the most Trumpians, just being explicit, saying that they're going to protect Trump and everything. And Bill Cassidy's been doing everything he can to kiss Trump's ass. Um,
Hmm.
but the MAGA voters over here just will never forgive him. Um,
Hmm.
so so that's where we are. So yes, it may the closed primaries does risk having more extremist Republicans. Um, but again, I think it's still better because I think the Republican Party needs to be shown that they're extreme,
Hmm.
and we need to have a good alternative, a good Democratic alternative instead of just a bunch of them. A good Democrat that is able to fundraise because it's just mono a mono with a Republican. I think it will turn out in our favor in the coming years.
I hope so. And the economy earlier this week, is getting a little bumpy, a little scary. Um, Getting some jitters here.
Yeah, I mean
Uh,
the AI, is becoming known now that
mhm.
AI is in a bubble,
The
and
bubble is outed.
Yeah, and all the data centers are becoming very unpopular, um, raising utilities all over the place. Um, so yeah, the stock market is getting rocky right now, and you know, um, it could keep going. Bubbles can kind of go for a while. So it's not. It wouldn't be surprising
Wax
to
and
me if it.
wane. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna do that. But yeah, the higher it gets, the more potential for there to be a bigger.
Yeah, and
Uh,
the more skittish people get. Now that there's an awareness of a potential bubble, anytime you see a little drop like we had this week, people are like, "Is this it? Is this it? What's gonna happen?" And it then could potentially lead to, like, a scare,
yeah,
a sell-off. So,
yeah.
it's gonna get even more and more interesting, but yeah.
There was one thing I wanted to talk about before we log off here. So, you know, Zoran Mamdani won in New York, and evidently, like Republicans are just like energized by this. They think that since he calls himself a democratic socialist, that everybody's just going to revolt around Mamdani, and like, of course, everybody's going to leave New York and come to Louisiana. They like actually think this. It's really weird. Like even the Senate candidates, I think Julie Emerson was like saying something like, "We cut taxes over here. Y'all come down from New York, people." And I was looking a couple days ago. Jeff Landry put a full page ad in the New York Times. Would you like me to read
Please.
it?
I was not aware of that.
So he said, um, let's see. In Louisiana, we value capitalism, not socialism. Okay. All right. It's not
I
exactly a ringing
second
endorsement for capitalism over here in Louisiana. It says, we reward success, not punish it. Okay. Um, why? How does New York punish success? Because they're the most successful city in the world. But anyway, we compete, not complain. Okay. I don't know what that means. We compete. We cut taxes to win new business.
They do
Um,
complain. I feel like all they do is complain.
exactly. We cut taxes to win new business. We cut taxes and basically just give tax free to industry
We cut
to
off
come
our
pollute over
noses.
here. Yeah, that's the only
Come up
businesses that come here is
come over
the
here and
businesses that would come here anyway.
we need more people to leech off of our people.
Exactly. We grow jobs, not government. We're not
You grow
growing many jobs,
you're
and
not and you're they're not growing government. They're growing government where
in people's personal
in
lives.
people's personal yes, exactly.
Exactly. We got ICE coming to New Orleans now, so that yeah, that's a lot of government right there, and enforcing teachers that have the Ten Commandments in the classroom. Yeah, that's
Just got that
not
just got
government.
voted down, right?
Well,
The in Texas.
yeah, in Texas, a federal judge. So I think that would apply to Louisiana too. I don't know how that works. Uh, it's not done yet. This is
It's still
a
going.
amazing ad. We're building one of the world's largest AI centers. Wow, that's
Mo
just going to make a
More
lot of people
leeching.
run over here. Like
The
they have the biggest AI center. We can't wait to move there from New York to there.
Such an idyllic little village to come raise your family in.
We're breaking ground on one of America's newest steel plants in 60 years. That's not true either. Like that's already like we're finding out that we're like paying them hundreds of millions of dollars or something to build here, and it's being held up because it's a Korean steel plant. And when ICE raided the steel facility in Georgia, that like messed up a lot of stuff, so they don't want to build. So anyway, they're running on that too, or putting that in the ad. Um, we're powering a new renaissance in energy, manufacturing, and innovation. No, we're not. We're not powering a new renaissance in energy, manufacturing, and innovation. I guess they mean LNG. We are building LNG plants everywhere and having them pay no taxes. We're
Data
one of the most,
centers and LNG plants, chemical
yeah.
plants.
Uh, We are not debating the future, we're building it. Treating people with respect and capital with treating people with respect.
The
Okay,
audacity.
as
The
you rethink
audacity.
as you rethink New York City, rethink Louisiana. That's got to be one of the worst ads I've ever seen. These people are like delusional, Danielle. I think they're
I
really
thought they were scared.
delusional.
I thought they were scared of the big city people.
I don't know. They just,
Full of
well,
criminals,
they
right?
think if they cut taxes, like everybody's going to move to Louisiana. And it's just not true at all. Nobody wants to move to a state that doesn't invest in their communities, that has low education, that has pollution everywhere, and high crime because we have such high poverty, and just crazy Republicans that don't like gay people. Like who in New York would want to move here? We need to be doing the opposite of what the Republicans do if we want people to move here.
So we can end on this story. I just got back from Phoenix. I had a work trip there, and my driver from the airport to the resort, him and I were talking, and he's one of these like, oh, I don't care for Trump, but he was sharing that he lived in like this. You could tell it was like a nice retirement neighborhood. He was boasting about his 20-foot ceilings and stuff. He used to own a business. They're retirement age, and so he started though like slowly complaining about taxes, and he started complaining about the taxes in Seattle. And so I said, he was complaining about, they have that new long-term care kind of tax situation. And he's like, yeah, they're implementing taxes nobody's voting on, da, 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 and property taxes and progressive taxes. And I said, well, did you like living in Seattle? He's like, oh yeah, yeah, we liked it. Just it's gotten bad recently. Okay. So I was like, okay. And I go, you know what? I understand this concept of like nobody likes to pay taxes, right? But I said, let me present the alternative to you because I'm from Louisiana, and because he was saying they have some of the highest sales taxes, and he said, "What's your sales tax?" I said, "Around 10.2." He's like, "That's what ours is." I'm like, "Yeah, we're
Or
some of the
ours is
highest."
higher. Yeah, ours is higher.
Yeah. And and he agreed. I said, which is like a tax on the poor and middle class. And he said, yes. And I said, all these other taxes, I go, you know what? I gotta say, at least like they're trying things, like Seattle's, Washington is a majority Democrat. They're trying different ways to work the system and work the taxes for the people. Okay. He's like, yeah, everybody wants something for free. So I was, the narrative, the narrative. And so I said, I want you to think about this. Louisiana um, has some of the quote unquote best policies for the wealthy. Like it's there's tax loopholes and stuff, and there's a sales tax, but the rest is given, tax cuts for the wealthy. I said, and we're 50th in the state on almost everything. Our public education is crap, our healthcare is crap, environmentally crap, uh, quality of living not great. I mean, the people thrive are wonderful people here because of our culture, and we have Mardi Gras and customs that nobody else has, but we're 50th in the country ever. And you could see him. He goes, you know what? He's like, you're right. And it's like, okay, like what are the people don't realize like what the taxes are for, and people just say, "Oh, small less government." And the less government you get, the less your infrastructure and quality of life are going to be less too. That's exactly like it's a very clear side by side comparison.
And I would
Nobody,
add,
everyone's leaving Louisiana. We have some of the highest rates of people exiting our state for all of those reasons.
and I wouldn't even give them. I would not give the Republicans a win on taxes because uh, they. We have to always challenge that narrative because they're raising taxes on the working class. Like under Democrats, under progressive in progressive taxation, the working class will pay a lower tax rate effectively than the rich. Right now, they're in Louisiana. They cut taxes at the very top. Corporations, just give tons of subsidies. then they cut services like you mentioned, and then they raise sales taxes and taxes on another thing. We have a very poor population, so 10% with a median income of 30 or 40,000 or whatever it is, um, hurts way more whenever a lot of our population is at the poverty line or right above the poverty line, barely making it. So like 10% or more of their net worth, total net worth, is going to taxes every year. No other state is that happening where people's entire net worth, 10% of their entire net worth is going to taxes every year. Zohran Mamdani is talking about just 2% on the income, which is only a small fraction of a lot of New Yorkers' net worth. Like, we tax poor people and we tax working class here highly.
Yeah. And I want to clarify, this guy owned like a really big trucking industry. So he was one of those like big corporations complaining about getting taxed. So yeah. Yep. Anyway, it's just interesting. It's just important to always have those conversations and engage people, because I felt like he was a classic example of like someone who probably always votes Republican and like anti-tax, and outwardly presents as someone who doesn't like Trump, but votes in alignment with him. So
Yep.
those are the people you always need to engage with and talk, and just have some like, simple, like easy to understand counterpoints to help them try and see things differently.
Yep.
All right, Dustin. Did we even talk about what was? I don't know. That I can't believe about that ad. That's so wild. Nobody's moving to Louisiana from New York City.
And
And what money did he spend on that?
I mean, I'm sure $1 million for this ad or something, that he gets in corporate campaign donations from all these big companies. That, yeah, all these LNG and energy companies that fund people like Jeff Landry's campaigns because they get whatever they want.
Yep. Okay, well, yeah, we're doing this on a Thursday. We can't record. Next week's Thanksgiving, so everyone have a happy Thanksgiving. If we need to have an emergency, what the hell happened, we'll pop on for a little while. But make sure you subscribe so you can get the show notes. I'll include links to anything we mentioned. And thank you for listening, and we'll see y'all in a couple weeks. Take care. Bye.